Grow Great is a city government leadership podcast with Lisa Norris and me, Randy Cantrell. Each week we share insights, experiences, and wisdom to help you and your leadership grow great. Our website is growgreat.com.
We are in a new year, and New Year's brings new goals. And part of those new goals and priorities, Randy and I have decided to start a mini series with 7 topics, and they are related to the 7 dangerous enemies of great leadership, a chart we found by Victoria Repa, who is the CEO and founder of Better Me. So we're in the new year, trying to figure out what's next. As so many groups, departments, I know in city government leadership, we have our council priorities, and it's time to set goals, figure out what we're going to do. If you haven't done it already as part of your fiscal year, certainly want to do it as part of the new calendar year. And for us, and probably so many, it's what does that mean to you? There's no one way that works. For us, our city manager, Bill Hills, came on about a year ago and actually about a year and a half. And for the first time that I can remember, he and our 2 deputy city managers met with council and set council priorities. Many of you may have done that already, whether you're small or large. But for us, we had always just kind of known what they looked for from council meetings. But this was a specific council priority. We did our top 10. We published those priorities on our website. And as a director team, we now have a clear sight of what we want to do. And this came up because Randy had shared with me a chart, and we'll put that on the site for you guys to pull down, called the 7 Dangerous Enemies of Great Leadership. The one we found was posted by Victoria Repa at Better. She's the Better Me CEO and founder, is what it shows. I don't know her personally, haven't read any books or anything, but it's really a great chart. And we thought with the new year, one of the key first areas that we decided to hit on was lack of vision. And in this particular, it's got obviously 7 enemies of leadership, lack of vision. Without clear direction, teams struggle to align efforts toward meaningful goals. So what stood out to me is, one, you have to communicate them. Not only do you have to set the goals and priorities at your highest level, you need to be able to communicate them so everybody's aware. And secondly, align what you're doing with those priorities or vision. And that can come about, Randy, in my mind, in many different ways. When I was an HR director, we would align, back then we didn't have our council priorities, but we had raving fans, and it was very well defined. It was, we knew the vision of our city manager. So everything I did in HR with our team, we would set half a day, and I would have the team create goals in their area. They had to be we call them SMART goals, which many of you know the SMART goal chart. They had to be specific, measurable, attainable, et cetera. You had to have a timeline on them, and it didn't mean next week, but it was something that we didn't focus on. A lot of people are very heavy data driven on their goals. We just set goals we could attain that aligned with raving fans, how to provide raving fan service in every area of HR. Now with our council priorities, and I'm in the city manager's office, I have my departments align their priorities with the council priorities, and we state them. So for instance, our fleet just got 2 awards. They are a gold fleet, and they won another award for moving 25% of our fleet to electric vehicles. And now we're getting infrastructure. Well, one of our council priorities is to have a more green environment and green infrastructure. So when I communicated to council we'd achieve this, we specifically aligned it to that particular council goal. And when we're doing grants, I'm over grants, I work with our grant writer on things that specifically align grants with the goals the council has set. So everybody knows as we're working towards things, those are their priorities. And they're very broad priorities. They're not, it's creating infrastructure is a council priority, following green space and green initiatives. So it allows a lot of areas, whether you're in planning and development, economic development, HR, city manager's office, very easy for us to align to those areas and to mark them specifically as we attain them. And I think that's important as an organization that you have them stated and you know where you're going. Because if you don't, it's very difficult to make progress towards anything, right? So that's just my initial thoughts, Randy. And I'm sure you all did a lot with goals, obviously being in a for-profit setting in private sector. But what are your thoughts on it?
Everybody, rightfully so, we focus on culture. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that you started with this one, lack of vision, because, well, I read the quote years ago and it's true. Great leaders see the future first. And it's that seeing the future first. It's that seeing not what is, but what could be, which for me is just the simplest way to kind of define vision. You know, where are we headed and why are we headed there? You know, if you're going to get people to follow, if you're going to get people on board, you're going to get people engaged. I mean, we got to know why we're here. Why are we here and why are we here and where are we going? And how are we going to know if we get there? How are we going to know if we're even getting warm? And so many organizations, I think, flounder because people don't know that. You and I've had countless conversations because I was taught by an old woman when I was very young. You know, people need to see and understand and know where they fit. They need to see how they make a difference. How can they contribute? How
do they bring value in their role to the organization?
How do they contribute to this thing?
That's right.
And that thing is the vision. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
You know, it's so important when the twist on this is the 7 dangerous enemies, not, the pros. So lack of vision, it really can make a difference. Like you said, if they don't know where they're going, how can you possibly set a goal to get there? And how do you achieve it? They have to know there's a path forward. And then accountability is critical in that. If you don't hold them accountable during the year and stay focused on that, it is very easy to, 1, move away from it, or 2, just generally lose sight because they realize you're not tracking it. And if you're not tracking it, why would I put the effort in? So they are going to watch you as a leader, and how you respond and stay on point is critical in goal setting. And it doesn't have to be a lot. When we did HR goals, it was not only what they needed. So when you're talking about council priorities, did we have infrastructure in HR? No. But we do staffing to help departments stay staffed with very smart people and good people that help them get where they need to go. So we would align it that way. So it's just, I don't want people to say, well, you can't, our department doesn't do that. It does something related. You have to be able to see it, and you have to be able to communicate that so it's relative to them. They understand we do play a part in the success of our council, which means it's the success of the city manager, which means it's the success of the department head reporting to them. And it trickles down, and we all have value in getting stuff done. You just got to find a way to align it and make sure that it happens. So you don't want to have a lack of vision. You don't want to have a lack of leadership. Your team needs to know where you're going. And I don't know about you, the most common issue I've seen is people say, well, yeah, we have goals. And I'll ask their team, well, what are the goals? The team doesn't know the goals.
Right.
The director knows the goals. So a huge part of this is you may have a goal in mind, but does your team know about it? And is your team aligned with it and committed to achieving it? It has to be something that's visible and seen. And there has to be a report of some kind, even if it's a statement of we've achieved it at the end of the day, to make it valuable.
Thanks for watching and listening to Grow Great, a city government leadership podcast. For Lisa Norris, I'm Randy Cantrell. Be well, do good, grow great. The website is growgreat.com.